Hi guys, it's Vanessa. So I'm here today to do a video. I was about to do my makeup. I haven't done my hair or my makeup, so if I look crazy, sorry. But I was about to do my makeup and everything that I needed was kind of right in front of me to do this video. So I figured I would really quickly record a video for you today. And I wanted to start doing an overview of the brushes that I own because I do have quite a few brushes. And I just kind of want to lump them all together so that you can see them in comparison to one another and that sort of thing. So the first one that I wanted to do in this series is, of course, the blending brush. I love blending brushes. I just love anything that's like big and fluffy. Like I have an obsession and I feel like I'm always drawn to these kinds of brushes because I feel that once you own a brush like this, it completely changes the way that your makeup looks. And for so many years, my makeup it looked like, well, I thought it was cute. And I look back and it just looks so harsh and blocky. And it's like, once you get blending brushes and you start having different types of brushes, it really helps diffuse your look and get that professional look that you want. So I think through the years, I just started going crazy and picking up a bunch of them. So I have a few here that are very comparable to each other or remind me of each other, that sort of thing. So I am going to kind of talk about them in... I'm going to kind of talk about them in the sense of dupes for my MAC versions of them. And some of them I have that I don't have a MAC brush like that. So we'll get started. The first one is the one that I was just holding up. And that's this one, the MAC 224. So the MAC 224 is a large domed fluffy brush. The top of it is really round and it really is really spread out. Now this brush is really good for working colors into the crease, for swiping over all your shadows to kind of blend them all together. Really good for brow bone, to buff in your brow bone color. You could even do face highlighting with these brushes. You could do contouring on your nose and smaller contour. And they're also really good for concealer. So this brush, the MAC 224, I tend to use it either for the socket highlighter or concealer mainly. This used to be like my favorite brush for concealer for a long time. The only con with this one is that it's a natural bristle hair, so it's not intended for cream products. So you will get some shedding with this, so it's a risk you take. But if you are willing to deal with that patience, it really does buff your concealer in really nice and it's great. So I have two brushes that are kind of dupes for this one. The first one is the Sigma Tapered Blending E40 brush. So here it is on its own. You can see it's also very big and fluffy. And when I put them side by side, at first glance, when I first got this one, I thought, oh, it's good enough. But I actually do not enjoy the Sigma one. I don't know if you can see here. It's a little too fluffy. It's slightly fluffier than the MAC one, kind of is still tapered even though it is fluffy, and this one just kind of feels all over the place. The Sigma one sheds incredibly, like it just sheds all the time for me. The hairs get really stray there. So personally, not my favorite dupe for it, but if you were going to be like technically, yes, they do the same thing. And another one of these that I have is the Delium Tools 785 brush. This is in the travel size, but you could get it full size. So this one is kind of like in between these two as far as like how fluffy it is and how much it comes out. It's actually more comparable to the Sigma one than the MAC one. You get like a nice kind of bullet, like perfectly round edge. And on these, they're just kind of more splayed and all over the place. So this one I actually feel is more comparable to the Sigma one, and it's slightly better in the Sigma one as far as shedding and that sort of thing. But it is kind of prickly. It's like one of my least softest Delium Tools brushes. I mean, it does the job. I use all three of these all the time. But as far as these, I would say the MAC, the original, is the winner for me. And when the MAC one's dirty and I can't use it, these do the job fine, but I still, you know, I'm left missing the MAC one. So that's that. The next one is a very similar style of brush, but it's just a little bit more tapered. It's not as big and fluffy. And this is the MAC 222, and it's the white goat hair brush. So much more slender. This is better if you have, it's good for all the same things that I mentioned before, but if you have a smaller eye, this tends to work better when you're doing work in the crease and that sort of thing, just because it is a little more controlled than the big fluffy one. So the one brush that I have that's the dupe for it is the Sonia Kashuk, and I think it's called the Tapered Blending Brush. So side to side, I don't know if you can see, but they are very similar in the sense that they're both long and tapered, and not as fluffy as those original brushes that I showed you. This Sonia Kashuk one, I actually really enjoy a lot. And this one to me is like a perfect dupe. If this is dirty, I have no problem using this. To me, they do like the exact same job. And I really love both of these brushes. The next one is the MAC 217 brush. I've talked about this brush till I'm blue in the face in my YouTube career. And I know a lot of people talk about it. It's just one of those great brushes because it is not only a fluffy blending brush, but it's also very flat and tapered. So it could also even be a shader brush. And this is one of those brushes that is an all-in-one brush. You can apply your cream products with it. You can apply your lid color, your crease color, and your highlight. You could do your whole eye with this one brush. You're going to have to do a lot of cleaning in between, but it's definitely a one-stop shop for eyeshadow. So I really, really like this brush a lot. I even have two of the MAC ones. And this is the Delium Tools 776 brush. And this brush, even in look, is very similar to the MAC one. They both are very tapered with that little fluffy belly, and they both work exactly the same. I actually prefer the Delium Tools one over the MAC one because it is slightly softer than the MAC one. So I really like this. And another brush that is a 217 dupe that I used to have that I don't own anymore, Sigma makes a brush like this. I had the travel version that I won on Twitter, and then I lost it. And I'm not the biggest Sigma fan at all, but that one Sigma brush I love, and I would totally consider repurchasing, and I think is an excellent dupe for the 217 brush. So moving along, we're getting, as you can see, a little more tapered, a little smaller. Here we have a more bulleted brush, and it's the MAC 226. I don't think this is permanent. I know it was at one point limited edition, but it has been re-released a few times. So this one is definitely much more concentrated. And it's stiffer than the other ones. It's not as big and fluffy and diffused. And this is really great for smudging colors on the lash line, for cutting the crease, for blending out crease colors on small lids, and also just for a little more precision while doing that. I really like this brush. Also really good for inner tear duct application. This is one of my favorite brushes. I love this brush. I think I actually purchased it, lost it, and then repurchased it because I like it so much. So a brush that at first glance doesn't look as similar to it, but it really is the Studio Tools brush. It doesn't have a number or anything, and I don't know the exact name, but this is what it looks like. And the Studio Tools brushes can be purchased at Target, and they do not get enough love because they're fantastic. Now this brush is very fluffy. It's much, it moves a lot more than the 226. It has like a lot more fullness in it. However, it's still, for me, does the same job in the sense that it's smaller, more compact than a brush like, you know, this or this. And it's very precise. And this brush blends out the colors like a dream, just like the 226. So I love both of these. If I really had to choose the original 226, I think I would pick. But both of these are phenomenal, kind of much more tapered and pointed blending brushes. Now this is, I think some people might not consider this MAC brush like blending brush, but I certainly do, and it's the MAC 210. And it's just like a little baby bullet. Again, we're just getting smaller and smaller and less fluffy. So this is dome shaped, but it's almost like a pencil. It comes to a point, and although it's fluffy technically because it's not like a flat paddle brush, it is very precise and pointy and stiff. So this brush is really good for liner works, specifically for liner work, for cut crease looks if you want a harsher line in the crease that you can then later go and blend out with a bigger brush. But this is an excellent brush for that. Really good for inner tear duct, probably what I use it the most for. Depositing color on the waterline you could use it for, and then right at the lower lash line. I really love this brush. It's fantastic. And a brush that's similar to it is the Delium Tool 781, and this is in their green bamboo line. Now this one is bigger and fluffier than the 210 brush, as you can see here. And it works really well. It's almost like a shorter version of one of these brushes, but I feel like I use it more for the same things that I use the 210 versus those other ones. But this one has a little bit more move. It's a little fluffier. So this one I personally like better for doing like crease work, whereas this one I use mostly for the lash line and the inner tear duct. But I still love both of these brushes. And then I kind of have the brushes that I don't have any dupe for, that sort of thing. This one I got from Crown Brush, and it's their C429, the Deluxe Duo Fiber Crease Brush. And I love duo fiber brushes, so when I saw this one, I was all over it. This is a great brush for like pigments, because these brushes are almost like a magnet for the pigment. You get less fallout because it really grabs the powder. Really, really good for concealer. It just buffs it in like a dream. Also really good for setting powder under your eye with concealer. I really love it for that as well. Also can be used, you know, for the crease and all that stuff. So this is one of my favorites. I really love this brush a lot, and I think it's worth picking up. And I think in the new MAC collection, like for the holidays, they have one of these in the brush sets, if I'm not mistaken. But I do love this brush, and I definitely recommend it. It was super inexpensive, only a couple dollars on Crown Brush. And the next brush is the Delium Tool 787, and this is the mother of all my fluffy brushes because it's kind of quite large. And this is I purchased this as a dupe for the MAC 225, I want to say, which is a now discontinued brush, which was a large fluffy brush. Now this brush, you can use it on the eye. It's a little awkward for the eye because it is so large. It's actually, I love it for buffing in highlighter onto the cheekbone and the nose is mainly what I use it for. I've also used it for setting powder under my eyes. I love this brush. I can't speak enough about this brush. This one is completely synthetic, so it works really well with creams and that sort of thing. So I really, really love and recommend this brush. And also this style or number, the 787, I think they have a version of this in every one of the Delium Tools lines, because some of the brushes, like, you can only get them in certain lines, but I think they have the Green Bamboo, I think they have it in Maestro and the Studio line. So it's just a matter of preference for you. And then lastly is my Chanel number 12 brush. And this brush I know at first glance you're like, oh, you could have included that with the first set with like kind of these fluffier, bigger ones. But this to me is actually, it's in between the 224 and the 222. Is this a 222? I hope it is. Sorry, my numbers are like all rubbed off. So this one kind of, as you can see, sits in the middle of all of those, and I would even throw in a little of that. It's like these three brushes right here, these three MAC brushes, make this one Chanel brush. I love this brush. And I have only one other Chanel brush. I have a Kabuki, and it's not very soft at all, and this brush is so soft. And I've touched their other brushes at the store, and for some reason this is like their only soft brush, I feel. But this brush blends like a dream. If I lost all my other brushes, you know, I of course would be very sad, and if I only had this one left, I would be like, thank God, because I already lost one of these and I had to repurchase it. It's a really amazing brush, and it's my favorite of all of my blending brushes. So I really like this one, and I highly, highly recommend it. I just think it's the perfect amount of full and tapered all at the same time. I think it would work on a lot of different eye shapes because it's full enough for a big eye, but it's definitely much smaller than some of the brushes that you're used to if you have a kind of smaller, dinky eye like me. So yeah, this are all my little blending brush collection currently. I love them. Let me know what your favorite type of brush is below, what your favorite blending brush is that you've tried. And yeah, that's all. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.